We are now ready to see how to refactor the email signing flow by using Change Notifier. And if you remember, when we refactored our original email signing form to use blocks, it took us quite a bit of effort to get there. So this time I promise that things will be simpler, and as usual I will explain everything step by step. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is to take a look at the email signing model. And then we want to make a copy of this file so that we can make changes while preserving the original file. So I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste this file, and I'm going to rename this to email signing change model, like this. And then in this new file, I'm also going to rename the class name to email signing change model, like this. And to avoid any confusion, I'm going to remove this enumeration called email signing form type, because it is already defined in the other model class and I don't want to have it as a duplicate definition on my project. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to import the other model file so that this enumeration is defined. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is to add a change notifier as a mixin to this class. So here I'm going to type in comma and then change notifier, like this. And in order to import this, I need to import foundation.dart, like this. And if you remember, when we add a mixin to a class, then that class has access to all the methods in the mixin. And we will see why this is useful shortly. But before we can make use of change notifier, there is one change that I need to make to this model class. And that is that we need to make all these variables mutable. So if you remember, when we first talked about blocks, I said that it was a good idea to make all our model classes immutable. And whenever we wanted to update the model, we would make the necessary changes with copy with, and we would add the resulting model to the stream controller. However, our new implementation will no longer use streams of immutable values. Instead, when we work with change notifier, we will have just one model object and the properties of that object can change. So one fundamental difference between blocks and change notifier is that with blocks we deal with streams of immutable data models, and with change notifier we deal with mutable models. And we will better understand why we have this difference when our implementation is complete. For now, I just want to head back to my model class, and I'm going to remove the final attribute from all these variables, like this. And because these variables are now mutable, I want to add a method that I can use to update them. So I'm going to scroll down to this copy with method, and I'm going to rename this to be update with, and I'm going to change the return type to be just void, like this. And then I'm going to remove this statement, like this, and I'm going to reuse these lines. So here I can type this dot email and then equals email question mark, and then this dot email, like this. And I'm going to do the same for all the other ones as well. Like this. So the way this code works is that if a non-null variable is passed to any of these arguments, then it will be assigned to the corresponding property. And if a null argument is passed, then the corresponding property will keep its original value. And now that I've made this change, we can make use of the change notifier mixin. So here I'm going to type notify listeners, which is a method inside the change notifier class interface. And if we want, we can even open the documentation for notify listeners, and we can read that it calls all the registered listeners, and that we should call this method whenever the object changes to notify any clients the object may have. So in our case, we will set up the email signing form to be a listener for this model class. Okay, so let's continue on the next video.